Welcome back. Module 2. This is part 2 of 3, and in this video, we will be covering what a day in the life of a green space crew leader looks like. Let's do it! In the last video, you learned how and why community urban forestry, healthy ecosystems, and environmental justice inform Friends of Trees efforts. Now, what does that mean in terms of being a green space crew leader? Being a crew leader is a shift from the role of a planting or stewardship volunteer. In this role, your goal is to create an inclusive environment to welcome, share knowledge with, and support volunteers. You likely will be doing less of the actual planting or stewardship and more facilitation. This includes things like tagging and distributing materials, checking planting quality, and ensuring that volunteers are safe and having fun. And of course, we want all our volunteers, including crew leaders, to have fun. Safety, both physical and emotional, is our top priority at volunteer events. As a crew leader, you have both rights and responsibilities that are important to be aware of. Our commitment to inclusion shapes many of these rights and responsibilities. As a crew leader, you are expected to be sensitive to and respectful of everyone while at Friends of Trees events. This includes respecting identities that may not be present at the event. We regard it as everyone's responsibility to foster inclusive environments that support learning, creativity, participation, and a sense of belonging for all participants. You may be the first Friends of Trees leader a volunteer personally interacts with. It is critical that your interactions are representative of our core values of safety, connection, and equity. It's important to us that our crew leaders feel safe, supported, and empowered within their roles. As you navigate your new role, know that you have the right to be given information on Friends of Trees, our mission, staff, facilities, and programming, be treated as an individual whose time and input is heavily valued by the whole organization, participate in crafting a well-defined role with clear expectations. This role can also adjust to your needs over time. Receive training and education relating to your role and an explanation of how the work contributes to Friends of Trees' mission. Receive genuine feedback about your work and a person to whom you can direct your questions and receive support. Be provided with a safe working environment and protection from liability and harassment. As a crew leader, you are also entrusted with a number of responsibilities, including being sincere in your offer of service. This includes being realistic about your time commitment of 4 volunteer events each season, participating in crew leader training and orientation, contacting us if or when your schedule or needs change, or if you need help or support, carrying out your work reliably and to the best of your ability, accepting the guidance and decisions of staff, receiving explanations as appropriate, staying within the bounds of the role unless asked otherwise, and upholding our commitment to inclusion at all times. To learn more about volunteers' rights and responsibilities at Friends of Trees, we invite you to read our Crew Leader Handbook. Now that we've established how Friends of Trees supports our volunteer crew leaders and vice versa, let's dive into the variety of events the Green Space team hosts together. Planting events are focused on planting native plants in urban green spaces, making up about 2/3 of the Green Space program's events. These events run through the fall into early spring, typically October through mid-April. The wet conditions of these months are ideal for young plants to get established in their new homes. Each planting event may have anywhere from 30 to 150 volunteers. Depending on the project and event size, between 500 and 2,000 plants are planted per event. The plants you see at planting events can come in a variety of forms. Container plants are potted plants that come with the soil they were grown in. These are the most common stock type we plant, and you will see them planted all season. We typically plant 3.5-inch and 1-gallon containers. Depending on the project, we may plant 2 or 5-gallon containers. Since these plants get moisture and nutrients from the potting soil, they can be planted throughout our planting season. However, they are also bigger, heavier, and costlier than other stock types. Our second most common stock type, bare roots, are plants that come with no pot or soil around their roots. These are great because they are lighter, easier to transport, and less expensive. This means we can plant bare root plants in large quantities. However, they need to be kept moist and cold. At planting events, it is important to keep their roots covered in a bag to ensure roots don't dry out. These plants can only be planted in late winter when plants are most dormant. This means that they have a shorter planting season and you will not plant them in the fall. Plugs are plants that come in trays, each in small cells with nursery soil. We use these less often as they are largely for herbaceous species. However, they are great for certain projects. They are cost-effective, have a longer planting season than bare roots, and are easy to move and plant in large quantities. However, they may be less hardy than container plants, needing slightly more care in their establishment period. Our other type of volunteer events are stewardship events. These events are focused on the care and maintenance of native plants and their habitats. These make up the other third of Greenspace events, running from late spring through summer. While these events are often smaller, they are just as important. Rising summer temperatures and longer droughts are making it harder for plants to survive. This is why we follow planting events with actions like mulching and invasive species removal. This helps ensure that young plants have the space, light, water, and nutrients they need to thrive. Without these efforts, the plants volunteers lovingly plant may not survive their first year. Now that you know more about the types of events you will be helping facilitate, let's look at the timeline for before, during, and after you are a crew leader for a Greenspace event. Crew leader responsibilities begin before you even set foot at the project site. 1 week before your event, the lead Greenspace specialist will send a crew leader memo to all ACLs and CLs who are signed up. Please read these emails and confirm your participation by Tuesday of that week. This is very helpful for FOT to plan accordingly and ensure the event runs smoothly. The information in the memo is intended to help crew leaders get familiar with the project. Included will be information on the site, project history, plants being installed, and the activities planned. Reading through the memo is a great way to set yourself up to feel confident and ready to go on event day. Please note any questions or thoughts you may have and include them in your reply to the memo. Your GS specialist is here as a resource and happy to help. Getting ready. In the days leading up to your event, it is helpful to keep an eye on the weather and plan accordingly. Aside from dangerous weather conditions, our events run rain or shine. Temperature and conditions can change during the event. We recommend wearing layers to be ready for these changes. Please come prepared with sturdy boots, rain gear, and appropriate layers such as a long sleeve, fleece, and jacket. Your GS specialist will let you know if there are any specific site considerations to prepare for. Another good thing to check on is yourself. How are you feeling? If you're sick or have spent time with someone who is sick, we kindly ask that you stay home and join us another time. Helping keep each other healthy is an important part of being in community, and we appreciate your consideration. If you do decide to stay home, please contact the GS specialist who is running the event as soon as possible. A typical event day begins with the crew leader huddle. The huddle begins 45 minutes before the event starts, which is 8:15 a.m. for 9 a.m. events and 9:15 a.m. for 10 a.m. events. It is important that the huddle starts promptly. Your GS specialist needs to return to the tent to register volunteers and start the event on time. In the crew leader huddle, your GS specialist will cover the day's plan, safety concerns, and any special considerations. They will also complete a demonstration of the activities for the day. This is a great opportunity to get to know your fellow crew leaders, get eyes on the project area, and ask any questions you may have. After checking in all of the volunteers, your GS specialist will make opening remarks to the entire event group. At the end of remarks, they will direct volunteers to join their crew leaders for their crew huddles. In your crew huddles, you will step into the leadership role. You will begin with an icebreaker and stretching with the group. Then you will relay the information for the day just as your GS specialist did in the crew leader huddle. The crew leader instructions are there for your use. You can add your own flair or go directly through the items, but make sure to cover everything listed. The goal of this huddle is to make sure your crew members feel safe, welcomed, and informed by building connections and learning about the day's plan. Once you've gone through the crew leader checklist, it's time to lead your crew through a demo of the day's activities. Remember that many folks are planting or stewarding with us for the first time. A combination of verbal explanation and visual demonstrations can make the information easier for everyone to understand. Take care to pause, check for understanding, and answer questions thoughtfully. Once you and your crew are ready, it can be helpful to start folks off with a few different tasks to get the day going. For example, at a planting event, you may have some folks searching for flags, others delivering plants, and others planting. For folks planting, check in after their first plant to ensure that they are being installed properly. Offer helpful feedback and encouragement where appropriate. We are rarely in a rush at these events, so it is helpful to ensure the focus is on planting properly, not planting quickly. It is important to continue to check in throughout the event. As supplies dwindle, your crew may need more deliveries or be directed to a new task. Often, you will support another crew in completing their tasks. Folks may also be getting tired, and monitoring team morale is critical. We want volunteers to enjoy their time with us. If someone needs to take a break, switch tasks, or head home, that is totally okay. Each person knows themselves and their needs best. At the end of the event, you will guide your crew to bring all tools and personal items back to the staging area. Please remind folks that each person is responsible for washing the tools they used. Lastly, make sure to thank everyone for their time and efforts. If something specific someone did throughout the day stands out, it's nice to mention it. Appreciation is a huge part of feeling welcome and valued. Our goal is for folks to leave looking forward to coming back. After your event. So your event has ended and everyone has headed home. Feeling accomplished and tired, what's left for you to do as a crew leader? First and foremost, take care of yourself. Events can be both physically and socially demanding. Take time to do what feels right for you and your body. A few days after the event, you'll receive a follow-up email from your green space specialist. This email will include an event summary, pictures, and a link to our anonymous feedback survey where you can share your thoughts. We truly appreciate any and all feedback. We couldn't host these events without you, and we want to know how we can best support you in having a great experience. You are also always welcome to reach out directly to your GS specialist or to our volunteer and outreach team at volunteers@friendsoftrees.org.